Hi everybody, Andrew here from KWMWine.com. Today we're going to be trying Sequoia Grove Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon 2016 vintage. So this wine and winery is based in the Napa Valley, which for those who don't know is a super premium growing area, particularly for Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot, particularly Cabernet, just above north of San Francisco. There's a lot of very high profile wineries there, and this particular one was set up in the late 70s by the Allen family. Now this particular estate is quite small. It's based on a 24-acre estate, which is less than 10 hectares, so quite small, and they have another 50-hectare vineyard, 50-acre vineyard elsewhere. This particular blend comes from both estate fruit and some fruit brought in from other Napa Valley growers. So Napa really rose to prominence probably in the early mid 70s when there was what was termed the Judgment of Paris tasting set up by the late Stephen Spurrier, who was a British wine merchant based in Paris, who at the time believed that while first class growth Bordeaux's were some of the best wines in the world, the French themselves didn't recognise quality elsewhere, I guess, but he believed that there was super wines being produced elsewhere. So he set up this blind tasting, and I don't know exact scores, but the unanimous verdict was that on the blind tasting, the Napa Valley Cabernets were better than the Bordeaux first growth Cabernets, which caused essentially outrage and astonishment across the globe at the time, and led to an explosion in interest in Napa Valley wines. So one of the wines at that particular tasting would have been the legendary Stag's Leap Vineyard, and that's a district area of Napa Valley now. This one here comes from a district called Rutherford, which is another district in that area. So Napa Valley, I guess you're looking at them in contrast to sort of Bordeaux, I suppose, and how would they differ, I suppose, or how are they the same? So climate is slightly different, really. They are quite close to the coast in the sense of where they're located, but not maybe just right as close as where Bordeaux is. They probably have a warmer climate, so the grapes get riper, and they're probably slightly different soil structures as well. Now, how they are able to retain freshness in the wines, I suppose, while they're in a warm climate up there in Napa, is due to these like sea fogs that roll in during the day. During the hottest part of the day, there'll be a sea mist roll in from the Pacific, and that has the effect of helping temperature control the grapes essentially during the ripening period, so they don't get too hot, too much alcohols, and so on and so forth. So these wines typically see a lot of oak. They're very much hand harvested, very hand produced, produced to the utmost standards and finite details, and they command high prices as well. Generally anything with Napa Valley on the label you're going to spend money on. Now this is an affordable Napa Valley, I suppose. At the same time, it sits around maybe just low 40s per bottle, so that's quite affordable for Napa. They can go into hundreds and hundreds of pounds and thousands even as well. So we'll have a look at this here with any further ado. So they say this is 2016. 2016. It's 14.6%, so it's quite strong. Immediately on pouring, the thing you notice is the concentration of the wine. It's really dark, really deep, and as you roll it around the glass, I'm not sure whether you can see that very well or not, but as I roll that around the glass, I can see the wine sort of stick to the glass and coat the glass almost, this sort of extraction happening. And what that tells me, I suppose, is that it's coming from probably a warm climate first and foremost. That it tends to have the result in factor of that. Not always, but it tends to be an indicator that it's coming from a warm climate. Cooler climate reds and that don't tend to have that extraction on the stickiness on the glass. So when you spin it around, then we'll have a look at what the legs look like. And you can see, if possible there, you can see they're forming quite quick and they run down the glass. So You can see how the wine moves in the glass, and it does move with a bit of sort of weight and texture, I suppose. So yeah, so indicates the warm climate that this wine comes from. So we'll have a look at the nose. So immediately you get an explosion of sort of black currant fruit, very classic Cabernet flavours. Then you're getting quite a lot of those sort of woody tones, those sort of vanilla and wood, oak sort of notes. There's a slight herbal nuance in there as well, which you can get from Cabernet Sauvignon as well. But what I'm also getting is this kind of graphite element to it as well, sort of like pencil shavings and stuff. And that can come from the oak as well as a sort of warmer climate. Sometimes you'll see that quite regularly in good Australian Shirazes and stuff as well. A slightly lifted floral note even to it as well. Really ripe fruit on it, so smells quite appealing, quite rich, quite big, and there's this sort of chocolatey note going on there as well. So there's a lot of complexity going on in this wine, I would say, certainly on the nose. It's full bodied, quite a grip to the tannins, but they're a fine tannin at that. There's good structure to them. Alcohol's a little bit powerful maybe. There's a lot of fruit to carry that as well. And you get this natural sort of mouth-watering acidity which helps clears it all out. You get those sort of slightly smoky tones coming through as well. Rich black fruit flavours, black cherries, sort of mulberry notes almost. Spicy touch to the finish, coming through from the oak now. What I would say about this wine right now is I have tasted Napa Valley Cabernets maybe twice the price of this, and I believe this stands up every bit as good. However, it is on the young side at this stage at 5 years old. It's not a wine to drink by itself, being a straight Cabernet at this age. It's one that definitely, if you put it with a protein-rich food such as roast beef, cooked boeuf, or duck breast, which I had a couple of glasses of this with a couple of nights ago. It was superb with duck, I must say. It was really good. The tannins work with the meat, and the sweetness of fruit really complemented that sort of gamey note of the duck. Cheese would be another really good match. Harder cheeses, smoked cheeses could be quite good with this, but it'll reward sticking it away for easily another 4 or 5 years, I would imagine. It won't be for a super long life, but you could easily get 15-20 years from vintage, I would expect. It's a super buy if you're going to try it. If you don't know much about Napa Valley Cabernet but you like Bordeaux's, they're worth a go, but do expect richer, fuller bodied, maybe riper style wines with a bit more alcohol to them due to the location and the climate and stuff that they have. But do give them time and let them age, and you'll see how they develop as they go forward. Beautiful wines from the Napa Valley, really must try wines, and Sequoia Grove, fantastic bottle, and yeah, give it a go. So there you go, Sequoia Grove, Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon 2016. Remember, KenWilliamWine.com, place for taste matters. Cheers.